into my bones and veins. Still feel you feeling me. I can't seem to release this pain that you've planted inside me. You can take this from me, but you won't watch me bleed. You can take this from me, but you won't watch me bleed. You won't watch me bleed. Just right on the facing my way. I'll show you crazy. Still feel you feeling me. I can't seem to find peace. I can't let go. Every time you lose control, there's another blood I hold. When you stick and twist it now. So get those roads. Just right on the facing my way. I'll show you crazy. It takes some time to realize it's not your fault. It took me time, my whole damn life, to find the power that's in my hands. To find the power, to find the power that's in my hands. You don't have a hold on me. I have a hold on myself. Just right on the facing my way. I'll show you crazy. It's enough having you.
Good evening, everybody. It's been a little while. I am more than happy to be back for a new season of Arena Clash, and joining me this time is, of course, the wonderful man of class. Classy, welcome to Arena Clash. We hope you'll enjoy your stay here with us today. How are you doing?
I'm sure I'll enjoy my stay here because we got a brand new game, and I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's exciting. And no, not just a brand new game, we got a brand new hero that they can potentially play tonight, who's like barely been able to competitive, but I'm sure that if players have been diligent about it, they've been playing it in custom games and in quick play as much as they could. Let's see if they're going to pull her out tonight.
That's right. We're still kind of on the cusp of learning exactly where Kiriko's place is in the meta. That's the new hero for those of you who haven't been religiously paying attention to Twitter and all the various other Overwatch news channels. I'm expecting we might see a bit of that tonight. Worth noting that we have our two teams lined up and ready to go. One of those is the perennial champion of Arena Clash in the form of the Stratford Spartans. They'll be going up against the Newry Gatekeepers in just a little while. And as an opener for the series, as an opener for Newry in particular, whilst we've had a lot of roster swaps on the side of Stratford, they should still be a force to reckon with. So this is a real test right out of the gate for one of our new arenas in Newry.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's always the known names we keep coming back to from Stratford. No, dawdling around the issue, really. I mean, they got some fairly experienced players on their side, but of course, with new titles, new games, come also new problems and new challenges for everybody involved, no matter how new or veteran you are. Particularly, Doomfist veterans. Now it's a tank all of a sudden.
Yep.
You can't just go on your own, do your own thing, no worry about your team. No. You got something to worry about now, which is, not just your own health pool.
I'm going to pull you back a little bit on that one because the Doomfists I've been playing with in-game still have that DPS mindset of I'm just going to go off and do my thing and the rest of you guys can whistle. Granted, quick play, different environment entirely to kind of coordinated all 5 players in comms, team comps. So if we do see some Doomfist, hopefully we see a little bit more of the style you were outlining there and a little less of the one that I've been subjected to.
Yeah, and of course you're also playing the North America quick play scene, Phil. Like let's be real. True. There's a little bit of a different thing going on there sometimes. So let's see how the UK scene has been faring over here. As we're going to go into the first map soon, we have a fairly standard map setup format. So we're going to start on Control. Today it's Ilios. I'm going to be moving over to Hybrid and Escort. And that will be, of course, the pick of whoever loses. All maps are playable, I think, except for Numbani. It's the one map we're missing because it wasn't in the game until like a week ago. They had to add it into the custom game. It's a whole thing. But every other map is pretty much it.
Well, I can hear by the rumbling of the noise in the background here that we are just about ready to dive in. Seems like we're going to be starting here on Lighthouse. I want to draw names as we get into the game. I want you to focus specifically on one name on the side of Stratford. And again, those of you that have been following Stratford for a while now will, of course, recognize Jaru, arguably one of the best tank players we currently have in EMEA. And given his position in the roster here, he's not going to be playing tank. That's going to be Jaru on the Kiriko initially.
Well, if you've already played all the other heroes to smithereens, might as well try out the new one, right? That would be the logic here.
Absolutely.
Of course, we are going to be seeing the hero come out. I mean, I was almost, going to jokingly say well, nothing is ever as it seems in the Arena Clash, so we might not even see her come out. But of course, it's going to happen. We are going to go into a first to 3 here, so we are definitely going to see those first 2 game modes. And if there is ever a point where one of the teams, well, both teams at least win one map, we're going to go to a map 4 and maybe even a map 5 or 6, depending on if there's draw still.
Yeah, certainly a lot of potential here for a lot of Overwatch today. Let's see how it goes as the rubber meets the road on board with Jaru on the Kiriko up onto the high ground. See the dive coming through with Tread getting in on top of Godbird, finding the Mercy, and that is a quick 3k, both supports down. Not going to be a lot of coming back from that one. An interesting approach here from Newry.
Yeah, it's Newry trying to hold onto the high ground there with that Symmetra TP. It's something we haven't really seen a lot of, but with the new Symmetra teleporter, like the speediness of it and sort of the flexibility that it has with automatically disappearing, really, there's a lot more opportunity for these quick and cheeky teleports going around, whether it's just the one hero or whether it's the entire team or a part of the team, and then you're going to be able to do it again.
Ooh. Quick little TP away there from Ryan to get out of the range of the hack, and comes through, finds the pick onto Jaru, and now a big advantage for Nuri. Laserhead goes toe-to-toe with the Sombra, has to back out there, and this has been equalized. Orion finally down here. Fungi struggling a little bit for energy here, 60% with both bubbles down, would like a little more than that, and this could be a slow exit here for Fungi. Yeah, it's going to be back in 40% now for the Spartans.
I know it's something we often try to avoid here at the Arena Clash, to not get too meta about things. But we do see a lot of these heroes on both of the teams that feel like they're either are going to be or are already fairly meta. We're talking about the Genjis, the Zaryas, the Zarya that has now swapped, and potentially also Baptiste and Kiriko. But there's always room for shenanigans here. That's what the Symmetra is obviously a part of as well. But currently it hasn't really been seeming to work out, as they're just getting pushed back into spawn, Phil.
Yeah, this is not a particularly fantastic start here. There's the blade out for Moonsong. Just on the hunt for turrets at this point, so has found the Symmetra now. No dash available, so can't close the gap, but this is a duel that I would expect to go the way of the Genji 9 times out of 10. Are at least making it tricky, gets the teleporter back, and there's no kill available here for Moonsong, who is still in here, and we are right up against the spawn doors. Here's the hack, and down goes Fungi, who's made the swap over onto the Reinhardt, albeit briefly. 90%. Somebody from Nuri's got to go and keep that point contested. There we go, we get the Reaper. Lazy Turtle on the point. Isn't quite going to be able to secure the flip. Now has to out-duel Baptiste. Alisu finds the kill. There's no flip, and that's going to be it here on Lighthouse.
First 100-0 of the season. Not at all surprising. But on the other hand, it's control. We always keep saying it's a very wishy-washy rock, paper, scissors type of mode. And ever since that Symmetra strat didn't work out, you saw Nuri trying to find their footing a little bit. What do we do now? Do we try and stay on this? Do we swap something out? Fungi swapped to the Reinhardt very late. And there's a good opportunity for this map of Ruins to go in a very different direction if they get a little bit of a better start on things.
Yeah, one round into the first match of the season, you can make some missteps. You can misread what the optimal strategy is going to be, and this is where you start looking at, okay, heck, that didn't work. Time to try something new, and we have already got some swaps coming through. This time, Dragon Tem coming through on the Junkrat.
I like it. Junkrat a lot more volatile, especially with the traps flying a little bit further. Everything feels a little bit smoother, a little less clunky from the Junkrat, who has of course upgraded his scrap equipment to be a little bit more oiled. Throw out a couple of nades, nearly getting jumped though.
Oh, yeah, painfully jumped a little bit slow on the deploy on the jump on that mine, and Tread's able to get in amongst the pigeons. Lazy Turtle down here, and like a river of blood in the kill feed there. It's all Stratford Spartans on the left-hand side of the kill feed, and that'll get them the first cap.
First cap coming their way. Nothing just completely different from the first map, but it was a little bit more... Also, a little less one-sided, at least it felt like. A little bit more pushback coming out from Nuri, and they're starting to find their footing a little bit, being ready for the Genji. But of course, Jaru with the triple headshot damage, Phil. That's a lot coming your way.
Yeah, that's difficult to push back against, and now Stratford have control of the high ground. Disperse can just stay up here more or less uncontested until they get somebody up there, and that's really going to be onto Lazy Toad to try and find a way out here.
Lazy Turtle might want to try and TP in somewhere, try and go on a flank. There is, of course, the high ground exit from the dropship, which teams rarely use. I'm not going to use it up to use this time either.
That's another unfortunate push out of spawn here for Nuri. Have at least got Lazy Dodo into the backline now, but there's just too many crosshairs pointing his way, Classic.
I don't know what you're thinking. Why is Jaru so far pushed up? You're a support. You don't want to be that far forward. But then you forget, oh no, but Kiriko has to teleport on a ridiculously low cooldown, and she gets just back to her team, back to safety. Can't even try and jump her, because she'll just be gone.
I'd like to see maybe a little bit more mobility options here for Nuri, just to try and outpace what Stratford are doing, because right now they are getting spawn trapped. Like, they need to generate an ultimate just to get out of spawn, and it's going to be Godbird that has the first one of those online here. Yeah,
it's either mobility or maybe some range damage, because the Reaper and the Junkrat are just sort of, mid to short range or very spammy. Can't really accurately target anybody. That's also why they're daring to be so close, because they know exactly where the shots are going to come from, and they're not going to hit that far.
Oh, it's Primal from Tread and bullied into the corner. There's the first pick. Are we going to get someone over the side here? No. But the raw damage from the flailing fists of everyone's favorite monkey scientist puts pay to that. Health pack collected for Lazy Turtle, but we're at the 90% mark. And boy, Spartans are just well and truly ensconced here, Classy.
No trouble here to win this first map out. It's going to tick over to 99, and there's the 100. No one is even going to do a last-second touch. They can't get through, can't get out of the spawn door for the entire round, essentially. That's Stratford with a very convincing first map win.
It's one of the, and Classy, you and I, between the two of us, have covered a lot of what we would call grassroots events, where it's not from the general population, it's from a specific community.
Yeah.
And if you happen to be in one of the geolocated communities, because that's the way Arena Clash is set up, right? You know, we have teams from around the Stratford arena, from around the Newry arena. If you don't have, by happen chance, some of that world-class talent close to your arena, it can be very difficult to find purchase against one of these teams that really does have that high tier talent, right? I think I saw our observer talking to the team. No, not our observer. One of the other teams talking to Newry to say, by the way, you're playing against contenders players in this next map. GG.
Yeah.
Good luck. Have fun. It's very difficult to bridge that gap. You're really looking for, what can I do? What is the marker for success in a match that has this disparity between these teams?
Yeah, it very much is. And, you know, we talk about disparity. You also talk about sort of like the comeback potential, or like, so what does that mean? Are they just going to be, you know, this is it? You know, you get a team and then just unlucky, you know, but luckily we have a like multi-week format here. So I think it's a whole group stage. So it doesn't mean that after this match, they're just done, even if they lose straight up.
Yeah.
So that's at least a good thing, right? Like that evens it out a little bit. Like, sure, you'll lose against that one team because they got that one or two good players that experience on them, but at least you have the option to also play against other teams that might not have that level of power.
Yeah, and on paper, just historically, given what we know about Stratford, we expect them to be one of, if not the strongest teams in the competition. They've got a really good, historically, a very good system for like finding and managing and improving players over at Stratford, implemented by Kyron a few years ago. I believe that's still kind of ticking along here. And so any team that is used to Arena Clash will go, yeah, all right, that's Stratford. We take the L, and then we go against one of the more evenly matched teams rosters in the coming weeks. So yeah, hopefully this is not a discouraging performance. It's just the nature of playing against Stratford.
True.
And not a lot you can do about that.
And you know, they say, even though if you're already saying like we kind of take the L, you can still use it as a learning experience. Like, where did we go wrong? Are there things we can do against this? If we run into like this sort of situation again, you know, how do we get out of it? Is there a way we can get out of it in the first place? And if not, you know, why not?
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot to be learned. You learn more from a defeat than you do from a victory, is at least the message I've been given.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I believe that all the time, but regardless, lots of things to improve upon here. But let's look now to the future and have a look at what our next map is going to be. And Classy, before we started today, we were talking about the fact that, there's actually a couple of new hybrid maps in the rotation. They're actually really nice. They feel quite good to play. So maybe we won't see King's Row here today. Well, I'm here to burst that bubble for you, Classy. It is, in fact, going to be King's Row up next for our hybrid map.
Yeah, but even though it is the same map that we all know and love and sometimes hate and sometimes, you know, dream about in our nightmares, it is also still, you know, it's a new game. So we're getting a new time of day. It doesn't look exactly the same. The compositions that are played on it are by default different because, again, you won't be able to play with the two tanks. So the Ryan Zarya combo's gone. So there will still be a lot of freshness to it. So at least for the coming 5 months, I think we're okay with King's Row, Phil.
Yeah, it's fine. I can cope with additional King's Row. At least we're not in a position, as you and I have been in previously in other series, where teams start picking King's Row just to mess with us.
Yeah.
We should see a little bit of variety over the course of the season. But I think for teams that are maybe a little bit lapsed in competitive play, if they have previously scrimmed a lot on King's Row, I can see why this might still be kind of a comfort pick, even if it's not... obviously the game has changed. It plays a little bit differently here. As we said, it's 5v5 rather than 6v6. Like, I still think there's a lot of at least we know where to go on this map of King's Row.
Yeah, I sure do. It's like I said, the geometry is the same. I don't think they even added really anything into the map. There's been a couple of maps where they added like a car or a little hill thingy, or like a little barrier on a high ground here and there. And King's Row just always felt like that map where what would you really change about it? And the answer is apparently nothing. So we're just gonna go on with the same old that we know. Just a little bit of different lighting, different time of day. and maybe like a couple little details that have been changed, like cosmetically, to reflect some periodic changes in terms of where we are on the timeline. But other than that, yeah, it's the same old King's Row. It's just a very different way of playing it.
And so we've seen a couple of approaches so far today, given that we've had the Winston on one side and then the Rhine on the other. I was gonna ask while I was waiting for the map to get going what your read was going to be on the meta, but I think we can now maybe get a bit of a better idea here now that we do have the map actually running.
Yeah, we do need to have it going, and it's going to be Zarya versus Zarya. Zarya very strong on the meta right now. Looks like the defense is holding strong so far as they're running with a Mei. Some would call it cheating, others would just call it smart construction.
Yeah, notice that we've had a side swap here, and we've also had a number of role swaps. Moonsong coming in on the Zarya, Jaru moving over to DPS. And, well, they still don't seem to be having too much trouble with already 2 minutes already gone off the clock.
This is something we've seen coming out more often from Stratford, where they're sort of like role swapping all the time. We do get the elimination into Alice. Means a lot less healing because it's only the Lucio left. But Tret just functions as a DPS, Phil.
I mean, and the combo there with the Wall from Disperse was absolutely disgusting. Singled out the Zarya, took them out of the fight entirely, and they are just going to keep rotating those cooldowns and finding kills. It is another spawn trap here on behalf of Stratford.
And some would question, you know, like, oh, so why are they bullying them? But at least they're playing on defense first, so they don't like finish the entire map on attack potentially and then do a full hold. So it saves people time, I guess, maybe?
Maybe. They want to be done quick. They've got plans after this.
Yeah.
Somebody's got dinner in the oven and wants to be out before it burns. See the rest come through. Fungi back in the fight now. They are playing for the amplification matrix now, are Stratford, but frankly, with the way things have been going, I don't think they need the additional damage. Okay. We're seeing Yuri finally out of the gate here. The TP onto the right-hand side, looking to make this rotation up the stairs here. So far, this is the closest we have seen them to the spawn. Moonsong, without bubbles, has to back out. This burst pops the wall and singles out Fungi. Again here, the wall doesn't come down. The blizzard comes out, and Fungi is sent back to spawn. Orion 5005 was able to find Jaru in that exchange, but it's just not enough. At least we finally have some point presence here for Nuri. If they can start to find a couple kills, they might be able to break some progress on this one. But the presence here from the tank in particular, the Stratford has just been too good.
And I think the most surprising and the most sort of damaging thing about it is that they haven't been able to build up any ults whatsoever. The only thing they got out was the Valkyrie at some point. But if you have a Death Blossom there, or a Symmetra Wall, or a Graviton, like that fight really changes a lot.
Something, anything at this point would be great, and they are nearly there. They're so close, but it's going to have to be someone running out of spawn to get to the point and keep it contested. I was looking for that to be Orion with the speed boost from the Transcendence, but the wall is up, Lazy Turtle is down, and I don't see how they can get to the point to trigger overtime. Orion is out of the gates, but it's not been quick enough, and the Grav is there. They're locked up, and that is one of the full holds I have ever seen here on King's Row.
They were at least able to get to the objective at some point. I think that's like the small win you can get there. They did it by sacrificing their Zarya, unfortunately, but other than that, it was not necessarily a terrible attempt. Like we said, that was mostly the push where it kind of needed to happen, and that's where you needed the ultimates for it. And unfortunately, they just didn't have them. They weren't able to build them up. And I think that would be like, if you're being spawn camped, sometimes you need that ultimate to get out of spawn. And if you're not able to build it up, even when you're in spawn shooting at the enemy through like a death barrier, then you are definitely in dire straits. And that was the situation there for Nuri. But they're going to have a chance to potentially try and do as full of a hold as Stratford had. The chances are slim, but they're always there because it's Overwatch after all.
Yes, make the sign of the cross and offer a prayer to Saint Achilleos of the fuller hold, because that's what you're playing for now here for Nuri. To avoid going to match point, you need to force a draw here. And given what we've seen from the side of Stratford so far, I think that is a monumental task. Let's see how they approach this, because it is going to be the Reinhardt and kind of a brawl poke hybrid here from Nuri.
The Jaru Widowmaker, protected by essentially by the Moonsong Wintham bubble, might actually come out. But I'm more excited about the funky Reinhardt, because maybe it could be a Tokyo Drift style. It's been it's starting to be a bit more popular now that you can turn your Reinhardt a bit more. Double fire strikes, a lot of damage you can output. But Orion already headshot.
Yeah, Jaru, he hits these even when he's not on tank. One support down. They might get the raise, but Moonsong is already very heavily pressuring points. Godbird has done a fantastic job here of getting out of the line of fire of the Widowmaker headshots in particular, but Alice was able to get in and find the pigs. Godbird down, Lazy Turtle down. Not much left on the defense here. Disperse might fall. No, there's no fire strike here from Fungi, and a very quick cap here on A for Stratford, putting them at match point, Classy.
Wonder what the play of the game's going to be.
Was there even a game
that's what
to
I'm
have
thinking,
a play
right?
of?
Yeah, I mean, it might be a grav at some point. The Moonsong just kind of popping off.
There we go. There's one kill. Don't have the grav. Not particularly high energy.
Yeah, right?
Oh, we might get a second. Yeah, okay, there we go. There's the second. There's the third. Okay, yeah, fine. Play of the game. Good work, Moonsong. Very
impressive. It was definitely a play of the game. It happens. And you can definitely tell as well that we're still having to get used to a little bit to the new Overwatch 2 standard, where you don't go have like all the cards after the game. You just go straight back to lobby. It's nice to have that short post-game screen, though, Phil. It's really nice. I mean, I've been noticing it in my quick play games. It's just, you get the XP. That's about it.
Yeah, if you know any Overwatch players, you will know that the attention span is borderline non-existent. So, like, getting people back into the action ASAP is a really good thing for your average Overwatch player. And as an average Overwatch enjoyer who is used to this kind of broadcast, I know that it is time for a little break when we get our teams relaxed, rehydrated, and ready to go in for the decider map of the series. So we're going to throw to a little break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
You make me feel like a bad girl. You make me feel like a bad girl. Me feel like a bad girl. You make me feel. You make me like a bad girl. You make me feel. You make me feel like a bad girl. You make me feel like a bad girl. Feel like a bad girl.
Welcome back, everybody, to the first week of the Belong Arena Clash Overwatch 2, the first of the season, with the first 2 maps already underway and a comfortable 2-0 lead for Stratford. We're off to our escort map for tonight, which is going to be Route 66. Now, Classy, given what we've seen so far, are we expecting a big turnaround here on Route 66 from Nuri?
I don't think we are, and I gotta tell you, Phil, I'm a little disappointed. I was like all ready to, support my favorite new queen in the game. Got my Junker Queen shirt on, I was ready to go, but she hasn't really even reared her head around the corner yet. Neither, by the way, have Doomfist or Orisa or Roadhog, or even Diva. Like, it's been a fairly, static tank line that we've seen so far. We've seen Reinhardt and Zarya and Winston. I think that's been it.
Yeah, a little bit more variety. I do want to point out that, yes, you've got your Junker Queen t-shirt. I actually have my Esperanza t-shirt on. Look, you can see I've got Esperanza projected through my shirt. That's how much I love the new push map.
I mean, I'm just going to put on a green shirt next week and just change the background depending on what I think is my favorite thing at that point. I think that's going to be easier.
Just full green face paint, dye the hair green, and just be fully invisible.
I am this person now. Yeah, I am. Whatever it is, I am that now. Like your caster tonight is King's Row, that type of thing. Yeah, it'll be great.
just the eyes and the mouth still visible. No, actually, no. What you want is King's Row background. Eyes and mouth visible against the bus on the by the attacker side spawn. Attacker side spawn, and then you can be bus casting.
Yeah, or the payload. Like you just bringing the match from the payload. Always on the move.
He's impossible to pin down, that man of class. He's literally the payload.
But when they need you most, you always leave him because C9s.
Yeah.
I mean, it is something that
he was depending on you, and you went to chase kills.
Well, but there's a lot of theories right now. It's like, why is RC9 so more common in Overwatch 2? But it's very simple. You used to have 6 people that could touch the payload. Now you have 5. That's all it is. I think that's the simplest explanation. It's usually the right one. So. Yeah,
there's a lot of that, even at the very highest level. I believe McGravy, who is a coach for Florida Mayhem, was like, a lot of the coaching decision right now is just deciding who it is that is the best person to push the payload. And you certainly saw a few teams not getting that decision made right. And Classy, in the last match, we were talking about the fact that this looks like it's going to be a quick one for Stratford. Maybe they've got something to get to. Did have confirmation in match chat that Moonsong has a concert to get to. So that is why this is going so quickly, is that he doesn't want to miss, I don't know, what bands do the youth of today like?
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever actually know that, but we'll see what they come up with as they come out of spawn. We've got to see another Winston impersonation here from Moonsong. Jaru this time on the Genji, Tread on the Pharah. Pharah not a particularly popular pick on this map due to the long sight lines against hitscan, but maybe they're just trying to give Nuri a chance.
Maybe, and I think this is something I would euphemistically refer to as a quick play composition.
Yes.
Like, there's some synergy here and there. It's not really like peak picks. The Pharah in particular is weird, but it does provide a lot of pressure, and you see the immediate displacement there from the concussive blast, puts the Symmetra back onto the low ground. And Tread is at the minute uncontested because there is no range available here for New.
Yeah, they also are playing so close that they consistently can fall back behind the trade cards, so they have a lot of cover to work with, which normally shouldn't be the case on this map. But it's just a slaughter. It's gonna sit up above the spawn, use a little bit of a floaty technique with the Genji there as Jaru. And even with the teleports. I mean, I don't know. I'm not an admin here. I'm not gonna make that call. I just see it happening.
Oh, Jaru with another one. Lazy Turtle down here. Disperse fire and volley after volley into the spawn. And boy, it is a real spiked roller to have to walk into as you try and get at the spawn. To have all 5 Stratford players with their crosshairs aimed right at you.
It's a little bit of a reminder of Havana. We also used to have players floating above the spawn there and just holding up close against the gas station. It's a very similar thing, but the train cart's actually providing much more cover than that, and they don't even need the cover half the time.
Yeah, it's going to be Alice getting in on the kill feed as well here. Tread takes a bit of damage there, but is right back up against spawn, and we're about to start to see some ults come online. In fact, Tread is going to barrage somebody in this next engagement, and I don't think they care who.
I know what it is, Phil. I know what the problem is that Nuri is running into. It's nighttime.
Stratford? Oh, yes, I can't see.
I can't see them.
They didn't bring their night goggles.
Yeah, and of course, they're coming out of a well-lit diner, so very visible, very out of the choke. That's just, yeah, time of day difference here.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I did wonder if we were going to get the Amplification Matrix Barrage combo, but no, each of those popped individually. Fungi down to the Barrage, nothing coming out of the Amplification Matrix. And I'm starting to feel a little bit like Nuri have seen the writing on the wall. Both supports just stood there shaking their heads slowly. Nobody pushing out of spawn.
Yeah. I mean, if you can hold them in spawn, why not hold them in spawn? I understand the desire here from the side of Stratford, but it does feel a little bit like bullying here and there.
What I will say is, and I hope that Stratford will watch this back, is we would like for Arena Clash as a project, as a series, to grow. And so what we don't want is for our newer players to be scared of ever touching the game again. And I'm a little worried that's what Stratford have as their principal aim here. Okay, some presence out of spawn here. No kills just yet for Fungi, but the Orisa is very survivable. A little bit more focused. If they can find one kill on the back of that Orisa pick, they might be able to make a go of this. But Moonsong now has the Primal Rage, and there is an Orb of Discord sat on Fungi, and there is no way out of that for them. Disperse with the double, and less than a minute on the clock, and nothing gained on the payload.
Nothing at all. Well, 5.58 meters. There is technically distance on the payload.
True.
So let's not discount them almost getting triple my body length. Actually, more than triple. No, almost triple. Not quite.
I'm so glad you used the word body there.
Yeah.
Okay. Wall out from Dragon Tem. Met by the Coalescence, so even... Okay! Moonsong almost into the briny depth. Route 66, back up and ready to bongo, though. There's one down as Yuru founds Dragon Tem. Orion taken out by the opposite number. There's the barrage from Tread, and Lazy Turtle gets the first pick here for Nuri. They need to go quick. Dragon Tem back in this, but Moonsong finds Lazy Turtle, and the picks have just not been enough here for Nuri.
It's a very much a unfortunate situation here for Nuri. Didn't quite adapt to the night vision on Route 66, and as a result, not going to get the payload much further. I mean, it is a rule, you know, you need to be able to see well at night to be able to have your driver's license, and I think that the driving police here, in this form of Stratford, was just ready to write them a ticket.
I like the concept of specifically driving police, not like traffic police.
No, driving police.
Not like traffic officers, driving police.
Yes. Transport police. They're not fit to license to transport a truck through 66, is what I'm guessing.
I see. So we've got a problem of jurisdiction here, because obviously there's a British player, so they're mandated by the DVLA, but this is currently set in America, which is going to be the DMV, and you really don't want that kind of interjurisdictional problems whilst you're trying to win a 5v5. So maybe that's just adding to the problems that Nuri are having at the minute. They have all of these complications to deal with between the Knights and who is really in charge of their driving licenses, and also Stratford Spartans, but not much required here for Stratford Spartans to run out of this match here today. Just a little shy of 6 meters, and that is all 3 maps going their way.
It is interesting to see that they're also going with the fire on the defense here, but in general, just their comp is fairly close range focused. The one hero is maybe a slight bit out of place would be the Ana, but then again, she's so versatile that with the anti-nade, with the sleep darts, generally speaking, you'll be able to make it work. And they're also obviously, I mean, they're going to have to hold up close, because as soon as someone's not touching that payload, it could just be snuck away by a Sombra, which Jaro is currently hovering in spawn.
Typical Sombra abuser Jaru. Moonsong straight onto the payload, and if they don't find that kill quickly, well, that's resource already burnt out of Orion 5005, and takes a lot of damage. It's Godbear that's down first. Moonsong is traded, but the kills are now coming out in favor of Stratford, and they've really not got to get too much done here. Tread on the Genji, what he gonna do? Well, first he's gonna find the Ana, the res is gonna come through, down goes Lazy Turtle. The payload shunts its way forward a few meters, and that is it. Stratford with a commanding 3-0 in the first opener of Arena Clash.
And I will say, it wasn't even the worst attempt at the defense there. Like, they actually had something going. They even they got Moonsong out of the way on the Winston. They did some damage to the rest of the team. Unfortunately, you know, if you only have 5 meters to push, it's pretty much impossible to hold that. I mean, not impossible, because we saw Stratford do it, but, you know,
Yep.
that situation. But yeah, like I said, not a awfully terrible attempt there from Nuri to hold that. It's just that they didn't have much more attempts to do that, unfortunately.
No. We've kind of been over specifically why this can be difficult for a team like Nuri against a team with contenders level players on your team, and how we have to hope that they are not too discouraged by this and instead look at this as, well, okay, we've already climbed the most difficult mountain, and it's a series of gently undulating hills from here, so let's look forward and see what points we can get.
Yeah, and I think as well in the chat, it does look like what happened during match chat, if we let our producers scroll up a little bit here and there, it does look like at least Nuri had a little bit of humor in it as well. They're like, oh, that was a quick one. Like, oh, you're not going to let it out of spawn? No, you're not. Well, hello, here we are. Like, that type of back and forth. So I think they're not completely discouraged from the rest of the season just yet. And like we said, they have plenty of other teams to play. We're working in like this group format, so it's not like a 1-to-1-to-1. No, it's a full-on like sort of a Swiss bracket, as you almost want to call it. So they should be matched up against opponents that are a little bit more suited to their speed soon. And that will be a different experience for them altogether, I'm pretty sure.
Well, here's hoping. We're not going to be able to immediately dive back into who they're playing against next week. We are going to be taking a broadcast week off. We're bringing you games every other week. So from myself and Matt of Class, whilst it's been a fun and entertaining match to bring you today, that's all we've got. And we are instead looking forward to 2 weeks' time. We'll be back with you with more Arena Clash action, but from myself, from Matt of Class, and of course, all the beautiful production staff here at Belong. That's going to be it for today. And we'll see you in just under a fortnight.